Welcome, everybody, to the 100th episode of Apostolic Children's Ministry Podcast. Not only is it our 100th episode, but it's also, we're celebrating our 10 years with Apostolic Sunday School, now Apostolic Children's Ministry. Since May of 2015, we've been doing this. But I wanted to shout out Brother James Pelletier because he's the one that brought it to our attention that we were reaching these milestones. Quite frankly, I think it would have snuck up on and by me if he hadn't said anything. So Brother James, thank you for pointing this out because this is a cool moment and we didn't want to miss it. And it was all because of you. So thank you so much. We also want to say thank you to everybody that sent in different clips, audio, text, and different things for us to put in here. And just because we don't immediately respond to them in the video itself that you're about to see, doesn't mean that we weren't really affected by what you said. In fact, everything you sent was far nicer, far more kind, and far more generous than you should have been. And the reason we didn't respond is because we had already recorded our part of the podcast, and then we got your submittals, and so we weren't able to tie them in necessarily. But just know that we listened to every word, and it meant so very much for all of you to send that in. But before we dive in, I do want to say that this is our first audio and video podcast. We've not done a video version before, and the reason we did it is because we included a lot of lessons that we look at during the video, a lot of behind the scenes stuff, a lot of stuff that you just have to kind of see to understand. And so if you're listening to the podcast, it may not make as much sense. So if you want the full experience, you got to watch the video. It's on YouTube, Apostolic Children's Ministry. But I also owe you a big apology. I mean a really big apology because this podcast is really long, like really long. And I didn't mean for it to be that long. Believe it or not, we actually cut out like 50% of the video and we're still left with an hour and 45 minutes. I know, I feel so bad, but I just didn't want to cut out any more of the incredible memories and stories and fun stuff that we had happen along the way. And so I cut out what I could and the rest is what we're left with. So whether you've been with us from the very beginning, back in 2015, 10 years ago, or whether you just jumped along for the ride, we don't care. We're just glad you're with us. Come join us. Help us relive some of these memories and celebrate what God has done. He's been so good.
How long have you been watching Apostolic Sunday School?
My whole entire life.
Your whole entire life? Really?
Mm-hmm.
How long is that?
8 years. About to be 9 years.
That's a long time. So basically, you've been watching Apostolic Sunday School for almost as long as Apostolic Sunday School has been Apostolic Sunday School.
If you love Jesus,
Apostolic Sunday School.
I'm Gabe Baker from Chehalis, Washington. I discovered Apostolic Children's Ministry Podcast been about maybe 5 or so years ago, maybe 6 years ago. And I listened to, I think it was actually the very first podcast that was done. It was Brother Ken Baglin, the legendary Sunday school guru. And it was an interview with him. And I was hooked from the very beginning. And this is really before, it seems like before podcasts were really that popular, but it was an incredible podcast. And so I started listening to each episode that came out. And then I heard about ApostolicSundaySchool.com. I actually heard about this from my pastor and went to check it out, and I was blown away. All the videos, and of course it's grown even bigger since way back then, but all the videos, all the resources, the incredible object lessons and songs, so many things. And then the third thing, from that website, I found out that there was a children's ministry conference happening, the SCC Children's Ministry Conference. And sad to say, I didn't know Brother Booker at this time. I kind of knew who he was, but I didn't know him personally at all. And so I reached out to him. I think there was a phone number or something. I called him and just asked about coming and registering. He was so kind. And so my teenagers and I bought tickets, airplane tickets, and flew down. And we went to the Apostolic, the Children's Ministry Conference, and we were blown away. It was incredible. So fast forward to now, I am so honored to say that Brother Booker is a very good friend. And even some of the people on his team that we've got to know. Such incredible people, such an incredible team, and we are faithful. I say we, I'm talking about my family, and I'm talking about our Sunday school team. And many people in our church were faithful listeners to the podcast. We peruse the apostolicsundaySchool.com and get ideas and resources. I'm able to work with Brother Booker on different projects. We go to the seminar every year, and man, just what an incredible thing. And I'm honored to be a part of the 100th episode. Wow, 10 years of Apostolic Children's Ministry podcast. So that's awesome. God is doing great things.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Apostolic Children's Ministry, the 100th episode. And there's a lot of stuff different, Brother Lee, besides the setting. It's also on video because we are going back and just kind of walking our way through the history of Apostolic Sunday School, Apostolic Children's Ministry from the beginning. Maybe you could kind of give a little bit of background on what this particular spot, where this location, we're in a kitchen of all places. So why?
Well, so 9-10 years ago, we started recording some object lesson little videos, and it was for Catherine, right, to go down to Brazil?
Yeah, so Sister Catherine Santos and her kids are avid watchers of Apostolic Children's Ministry, which is amazing because they weren't even thought of at the time. And so she said, I'm going down to do some missions work in Brazil, and I would like to take some lessons with me so we can teach those kids there. She said, do you have anything that I can take? Well, at that point, we had nothing printed. We had nothing recorded. There was nothing. And so we said, well, let's go and just sit down and record a bunch of them. And so we ended up right at this spot, this very table, although it looks a little different.
Yeah, a little bit different.
You had a big old cabinet over here. In fact, I believe
I'm in front of the living room, in front of the fireplace. I think we changed the scene on a couple of them.
Yeah, in fact, we had two angles on the first one.
Yeah.
The reason we had two angles was there was this camera, and then Sister Catherine had her tablet. Because just in case one of them acted up, I recorded, she recorded, and we ended up posting both of those. We called them Angle 1 and 2. And we were just kind of going back through. And the very first video we ever recorded on the entire YouTube channel. Now, it's interesting because it's not... YouTube doesn't think it's the first one because just the way they got uploaded, I uploaded them in bulk. And so it ended up calling another one number one. But it was your burning bush.
The burning bush, yeah.
But not the one you guys think, because Bob Lee did the first version, and then it's evolved into the really cool steel wool one that you guys know. Yeah. So tell them about that initial first video that we ever did.
I think I got the... it was a little cutout of a little tree, dollar store, and that whole video probably cost a total of $2 because I had the bottle of alcohol, and I soaked the little bush in the alcohol and lit it and told the story of Moses and the burning bush. It evolved over time. I ended up getting Brother Dwayne Davis to build and weld a nice little tree and the whole steel wool thing, and that's one of my favorites. It's just such a cool trick.
Saw this bush, which was not consumed.
Oh, that burns good. I'm surprised your cabinets aren't singed.
I think you see the bush.
We went to go get a fire extinguisher. Oh, it was foam. That's right, it was foam. That's why it wilted. It was not consumed. Well, mildly consumed.
I think I was smiling because I was surprised that it actually worked and it didn't melt down, because I've had some meltdowns before.
That lesson is to me kind of like a microcosm of the entire Apostolic Sunday School story. I mean, because it started with a lesson that was in its infancy, a little Dollar Tree deal, alcohol on it, you burned it, and then you came up with a better idea, and you came up with a better idea, and it's evolved, and now it's one of the coolest lessons that you can ever do in Sunday school. That translates well into kind of the overall thing of Apostolic Sunday. We started it to help Catherine, and we also thought, well, this is a great opportunity because we have done some decent lessons to put them in concrete, because if you're like us, you've done some really neat things in the past, and time goes by way faster than you think it does, and you look back 10 years and you think, now what was that?
Yeah.
And you can't even remember what you did, let alone recreate it.
It was just for internal or home use only, locally, and just kind of to remember and refresh our memories of how we did things. And then you kind of started putting notes together, the materials, and just kind of what we did. And
this one's going to be
I will say my
edited.
wife and my granddaughter will probably be walking in here pretty soon too, so we may get to say hello. But that happened during some of the early. I saw something recently.
You're standing behind me.
And I started going to get a cup of coffee or two, because we spent out. We were here a long time. It got goofy, and it got real giddy at the end.
And we've done several marathons here. In fact, we came back and did a second time, more in your living room. And then we went over here. We actually had a screen set up, and that's where I came in, crawling on my knees. Just find something that catches your attention, and it'll catch the kids' attention. Worry about the lesson you'll teach later. Go buy the magic trick. Go figure out the science. I promise you a lesson will come. And if it doesn't, put it in that Apostolic Children's Ministry chat. You will have 400 ideas in about 20 minutes.
You do need to practice, and because I think we've done a podcast before when things go wrong.
Oh boy,
and they have.
Everybody has those stories.
That
some worse than others.
one, I think, has gotten us in trouble a few times.
Twice.
Times.
Within short order. That same one bit us twice, as Brother Bradshaw and his family can attest. You have to practice and not leave the stuff out after, or someone may find it and burn your church down. So that wouldn't be good, would it? The second video we ever recorded, but lesson 2 was the bleach, iodine, and water, the Jesus, us, and sin. We've done it so many times that it's kind of lost its newness and its coolness. But if you've never seen it before, it's mind-blowing. I had seen variations of that online, but I had never seen it with an explanation. And I always thought it was just some like magic of science. I thought it was like one of those college professor only things. They had chemicals we didn't have access to. They had this special high dollar stuff. We'd never be able to pull it off. But wouldn't that be cool if we could do it in Sunday school? And then James Wang, one of our good friends who is not with us anymore, but he was one of my heroes in Sunday school, did a webinar on object lessons. And he had me join him and do some object lessons. Well, he did that one. And I remember seeing it and thinking, he's doing the one that was unattainable. That was the first one I ever recorded, because that one was like super special to me.
I remember one time, long time ago, it had to be 25 years ago, I had a conversation with Brother Donnie Pound. He goes, hey, you got any plans for the weekend? And I said, I got to go to an offsite business meeting. He goes, you don't sound very happy about it. I wasn't up to it and whatever. He said, when I used to have to go to a meeting and stuff like that, I always thought, what can I get out of this that I could use for church? And I tell you, that simple little line, I thought, you know what? Okay, what can I use? And it kind of changed my mindset, thinking, what can I do at work, or maybe my background can we use for Sunday school?
If everybody caught what you just said, use your personal experiences and the things you know, and don't try to separate your work from Sunday school, it would change how you see Sunday school. In fact, you changed our Sunday school with many of your science. You brought a background of science that we would never have had. And if you hadn't been willing to share that, we never could have had all these cool experimenting. But one of my favorite ones in the whole world is the one with the hydrogen gas. Brother Lee, I have done that, God only knows how many times, 100 times across the nation in different churches now, because I saw you do that.
I like the 5-gallon water bottle. That was one of the first ones I think I demonstrated at your house, was shaking that thing up. That was okay, yeah, let's talk about this. We won't forget.
You almost killed me. We can't just gloss over this. So if you have one of those 5-gallon water bottles, you put alcohol in it, you shake it up. If your kid's watching this, you're not hearing this. Ignore what we're saying. Parents, you're the only ones that can hear this. And you shake it up, and the longer you shake it, the more atomized, if I'm saying this right, the alcohol becomes, and it becomes like a mist inside, and then you light it, and poof, it does a really awesome like jet flame out the front of it. Well, I had seen it several times, and it's cool. It goes a couple feet. It's impressive. Well, one day, Bob came to my house, and we were in walking distance at the time, but the whole way from here to my house, you shook that bottle. Yeah. And I didn't realize just how much you had juiced it up. So he gets into my kitchen, and he's like, hey, want to see something cool? And he lights that water bottle. I was across the kitchen. It was a flame. Bob, am I exaggerating? Was it over 6 feet?
Oh, it was. I think it was longer than that, because I remember watching the pictures that Logan drew on your refrigerator fluttering because of the force that went out of that thing. That was a good one.
So 6 feet is on the conservative side, and this is a flame. Like I mean, like a burn anything in its path sort of flame.
Actually, the first time I did that one, if I recall, in Sunday school, I taped that bottle to a skateboard.
Oh, you did?
Were you there when I did it?
So. I think so.
And it went across the floor.
Yeah, so
it was cool. I can't remember what lesson I applied to it, but
that's the problem.
Power of the Holy Ghost or something. I don't know.
We didn't write it down.
We didn't
We didn't record it. Nobody knows except for you and me, and now that we have it on a podcast. Write your stuff down, record it for posterity, and if you want to share it, just send it to us. We'll be happy to post them. That we try to make it really simple, and just send us a YouTube link. We don't care, but we just want to get this stuff out there. If you go into something like you did when Brother Pound told you to go in there expecting to bring something back for church, it's amazing the difference in what you bring back. So me and you remember this when we went fishing?
Yeah.
And I remember it super clearly because that was when Brother Tapp was with us.
Yeah,
Brother
yeah.
Tapp passed away a couple weeks ago, one of the best men that I know. Anyway, but that brings me to this point is we sat down after that trip. We had a 1.5-day trip, and on the way back, a few hours driving that boat back. Me and Bob, we purposely sat down at the galley table and did nothing but, what lessons did we learn from this trip? If we hadn't sat down, I would have got nothing out of that trip but fish. But because we took the time and said, what did this trip teach us about Sunday school, about God, about church? We came up with page after page. And Bob, I still use it. In fact, I wrote an article in the Together magazine off of that.
And that's what I like about our Sunday school thing. And then the chat that you have, the children's ministry chat, just ideas. You just got to start and think about like what we did here 10 years ago at this same chair.
One thing leads to another. So we started recording those videos with zero expectation other than let's get Catherine some videos and make an archive for us to reference later. That's the only expectation we had. And so we recorded a few more, then we recorded a few more, and then other people started, hey, this is kind of cool. You guys actually have something more than, it wasn't just me and Bob dipping into it. Now there was other churches that were looking at it. And then they'd respond and say, hey, we actually use that lesson this way instead. And so we would re-record it, or maybe just in the text underneath it, we'd kind of explain, here's an alternate way to use it. And when other people's are getting interested, it kind of fuels a little bit. So, hey, let's record some more. So we recorded again. By this time, 50, 60, 80 videos. We have over 700 now. Wow. There's over 700 videos. Not all of them are even public. So there's some like, slideshows and stuff. It was hard for me to separate, but there's over 700 on there, 110 or so action songs, 200 plus object lessons. Anyways, and the rest could be skits. Who knows? There are all kinds of games and everything else. But the reason I said that is, so it built on itself. One thing led to another. And then I remember when Brother Winkler reached out, and this is Ken Winkler, Brother Joshua Winkler's father, and he said, hey, would you come do Sunday school in our church? I did not want to go do Sunday school in his church. And it was more of it wasn't do Sunday school. It was a help our teachers. And I just recorded a deal on imposter syndrome, so I'm not going to go into that again. But it was terrifying. Like, are you kidding me? No, I can't do this. Well, we did it. It went okay. Well, then we kept recording videos, and then I remember when Brother Tony Spell reached out and said, "Hey, I've noticed the videos that you guys are putting out. Why don't you come to our commit conference?" And do an object lesson session in front of hundreds of people. Many of them aren't even there for Sunday school. I was like, this is not a good idea. I don't know if I ever told him that, but I sure thought it. I was like, wow, this is not what people are there for. So we did that. Anyway, we did that for 3 or 4 years. I can't remember. Anyway, one thing just led to another, and now it's got some legs under it. It's doing some cool things, and now we're seeing fruit of it, even in like the WPF with the curriculum, in that children's ministry chat. One thing after another. Now we have friends all across the nation that I don't know that I ever would have had we not sat down and recorded your burning bush. I really don't know. It's hard to unwind it and know what the butterfly wings flapping actually did over time. But everything from that point, from 2015 to 2019, was all aimed at teachers, every last bit of it. In fact, I remember in 2018 I put out the first object lesson book. And basically taking all of the stuff that was on video and trying to put it in book form, again, just to try to make it a little more pass-onable to the next generation. Like, hey, here's something that we have, now use this and make it 10 times better. And after I published that book, I had made up my mind, I'm going to record one video every single week, no matter what. Now, it wasn't all recorded every week, but it was released at least one a week. Like, I might come over here and do 20, and then we'll release them over the next, several months. For a solid year, I hit every single week. And I was able to put out volume 2 in 2019. in 2019, in January, that's when Tristan got in her accident. And anyway, everything got thrown up in the air, and that regular schedule was shot. Several months of nothing, and then 2020 hit.
Yeah, 2020.
And everything changed. The whole world collapsed around our ears, and COVID hit us, and all of our focus went from being on teachers in children's ministry of churches, it went directly to the kids.
There's an old story about two stonecutters working on a massive cathedral. A traveler passed by and asked each man what he was doing. The first man says, "I'm cutting stone, making my living." Second man, with a gleam in his eye, says, "I'm building a masterpiece that will stand for generations." I'm going to tell you that second man is my friend, Brother Philip Booker. Those old cathedrals took literally generations to build, and I'm sure some just thought they were stacking big rocks on top of each other, while others realized that brick by brick they were building something that would bring glory to God and last for centuries. ApostolicSundaySchool.com, Apostolic Children's Ministry Podcast, and the Apostolic Children's Ministry YouTube channel. 10 years and 100 episodes in, it's taking shape to become a great cathedral of our time. I can attest that these platforms are it's a suite of tools. It's the site, the channel, the podcast. They're bringing glory to God. Now, I know these things are changing how we talk about children's ministry, because I literally cannot, for the life of me, say .com any other way now. And I find myself just randomly mooing like a cow simply because I love Jesus. Now, I imagine at first, as Brother Philip and all those with him, Brother Lee, and I know there's a whole lot of others, as you guys recorded that first video, built that first web page, recorded the first episode of the podcast, I'm sure there was a bit of trepidation. Probably some voices in your ear saying dumb stuff like, "No one's going to listen to this. No one's going to see this object lesson. Somebody else probably does this object lesson better. What's the point of this Holy Ghost Writer slideshow on YouTube anyhow?" But I can tell you, I'm glad you posted it. I'm glad you started this. I'm thankful for all of you that pushed those voices aside and put up that video after video, wrote the article after article, blog post after blog post, episode after episode. I'm glad you looked up with a gleam in your eye, cut another stone, laid another brick, and said, "This is bigger than me. This is to bring glory to God. This is to help His church, God's people, across the nation." We look to ApostolicSundaySchool.com for ideas and inspiration. Imagine where we would have been during COVID without these tools. COVID was tough. It forced all of us to get way out of our comfort zone. But we had a strong foundation already in place. We already had a place to look for guidance when it comes to Apostolic Children's Ministry. The daily devotions that y'all did, it was a huge boost. I think we all learned how to do online Sunday school using a template from your YouTube channel. And it was only possible because years before you guys started laying those stones, back before it was cool. So thank you. And by far the number one thing I appreciate about this milestone is that it's so much bigger than a website, a podcast, a YouTube channel. The platform, Brother Booker, you've built here, this platform has helped to truly build a community. Across the United States, there's ideas springing up, inspiration to do so many things for the kingdom, to reach our kids, and to give them the best possible opportunity to live for God. Like not long ago in our WhatsApp chat, when somebody mentioned, wouldn't it be nice to have a magazine for our kids? Bam, it triggered an avalanche of hundreds of comments and different ideas that spurred off of it. And some ideas that were very similar that we had across the country in different places, but we'd never been able to connect had it not been for this community. And it sure wouldn't be a project that any one of us could tackle and create. It's a great idea. It's a great thought. And we wouldn't be able to do it alone, but with the community and together, brick by brick, stone by stone. 1 Peter 2:5 says, "Ye also, as lively stones, are built up a spiritual house and holy priesthood to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God by Jesus Christ." You started this thing, and now there's so many of us. We're not just stacking rocks, we're lively stones. And we're building a masterpiece that will stand for generations. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Here's to the next 10 years and 100 episodes.
This is in our home, and of course I have my wife Jennifer.
Hello.
We have
Riley.
And Tristan.
And of course, we have someone that wasn't even here during COVID, and that is
Lincoln.
That's right. This is Lincoln. And we are actually sitting in the very spot that we recorded 90% of those daily devotion videos. So my wife was very, very kind because we had a giant green screen set up here for how long do you think?
Oh, 8 months.
16.
It was a long time. And it occupied this whole area. All the furniture here was gone. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I do want to hit up kind of those times. You guys remember every single day we recorded a daily devotion, edited it, and posted it. We're going to talk about memories. What are your best memories of that time? What are your worst memories? What are your favorite videos? What are your least favorite videos? What are the things that just kind of stand out? I'll start. I think my favorite daily devotion of all time was the one in the rain, where I was out dancing in the rain in my suit.
Oh, yeah, I like that one.
my son that wasn't even there liked it, although I think he's seen it probably. But basically dancing in the rain, and I ended up doing like mud angels in the backyard.
Lovely.
And then the whole point of that was there was a transition where you snap your fingers and then it's sunny and all your clothes are dry and everything's fine because we recorded that on a totally different day. But that was probably my favorite video that we ever did. What about you? How about anybody that's here?
My favorite one was when you were doing the airplane. I don't remember the concept of it, but you were doing the airplane and it kept going on the roof. Oh. It went in the tree, and so we had to keep going and finding it and editing, and yeah, we did that one a bunch of times. Forsake
not the assembling of yourselves together. That was it.
Yes.
Yeah, all the behind the scenes stuff. How about you? Either one of you guys? Favorite, least favorite, or just a funny memory?
I just remember a funny one for me was I was doing my mini object lesson that you had us do. And so I was doing it's the one where like the salt, you put salt in the water and make it float. And I couldn't put enough and it kept not floating, and so my object lesson fell. And then there's like just a cut in the video where you can see where we just dumped like half the thing in there and then finally started floating.
So much salt.
That's right. The mini object lessons were a lot of fun. We had kids from all across the nation submit videos, and including both of you guys. But you guys didn't just do the mini object lesson. You actually helped in the daily devotions too. How about you? What's a memory?
The daily devotions honestly are like kind of like a fog. I don't really remember. I think one of my favorite memories though with it was when you like knew what you wanted to say, but there was like a certain thing like you wanted to get to by the end of it. So you had me be a human teleprompter and hold your iPad underneath the camera at a perfect angle where it wasn't seen, but you could read all of it. And I don't even know how many takes that took.
That's right. So I actually have a clamp that went to the
tripod?
Yeah, the tripod, and it would hold my tablet just in the right place. And so it would like do this slow scroll. The problem is I either lost it or broke it or something, and I couldn't find it. And so Tristan was the stand-in. And
I just remember trying not to.
Too slow, too fast.
Yes.
No, go back. Where did
and
you
it's
go?
not her fault.
Yeah.
The problem is you try to like assume what that scroll speed is going to be, but it's never right. It's too fast or too slow.
I remember one time it was just like we could not find the speed, so he's like, just as I say the words, you scroll with your finger. You just have to scroll
Follow me.
too. Yeah. And I kept on knocking the tripod over. Like, it was funny though.
Any other memories that jump out about that time?
Honestly, a lot of what I remember is the actual like Sunday schools, not really daily devotions. Because daily devotions.
Well, Sunday school is part of it. It's all part of it.
Devotions for me, I was here most of the time with Philip through all those.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's going to sound kind of weird, but those were like highlights because we had nothing else to do. And we were like, oh, is it time to record? And you would just record several at one point. So,
Yeah, because we were in like our like quarantine version of school where even if we were like the homeschool, we were in our rooms for most of the day.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know he had recorded until like I saw the video popped up. Yeah.
We had all these little pieces that had to go into it. We had the joke of the day.
And now it's time for your joke of the day.
We had the mini object lesson.
Hi, my name is Bethany. Hi, my name is Charity. This egg beer decided to fall in the sand.
I'm Adam Tyler. And I'm Annabella Tyler. And we are going to do an object lesson about sin and forgiveness.
Yes.
There was all these little things that had to tie in. And you mentioned that Sunday school
Yeah.
stood out to you. What about Sunday school jumped out at you?
So Sunday school was kind of the time, like that time for Sunday school was when a lot of us younger kids got involved because we weren't able to before. So that was like kind of my first taste of like actually doing Sunday school. But then there was the days where we would just record your part of it and we'll go and then like we'll put it all together. And so we were in some random places. We did like a song and every single segment of the song was in a different area. Then we had like one person be like out in the forest. One person was...
Me and you, we recorded the action songs in 4 different areas of the city that day.
It was, we did Faith. And it was like in the wash. And
we did it right here in Country Club. We did it down by the dump.
Yes, in Nana's a little garden area.
We went everywhere. Yeah, that was pretty wild.
Or what about doing Sunday school and then after Sunday school reenacting it and so we could record it.
Yeah.
So we were doing Sunday school twice on Sundays.
Yeah.
So what Jen is talking about is there was a weird part where we were doing live Sunday school, but we were still recording Sunday school also. But Pastor didn't want us to do it at the same time because he didn't want the kids in the video. And so we would have to do Sunday school twice every Sunday for quite a while. And that was well, you know, the first time with the kids there, all that enthusiasm and energy, and then the second time, the enthusiasm's gone. You have no energy.
We tried recording, even though the kids were in there, but then there would still times you would see them or hear them, and so we just had to take them out and just redo it.
It was tough. But I thought you were referring to when we would do an actual recording with no kids there, and our mics would be dead or something, and we have to
redo the whole thing. Delaney and her mics.
A whole hour, and we realized the whole thing had not been recorded.
Oh, yeah. I remember one time, literally like we were so close, and I remember you were like packing something up on the stage. I think you had done the object lesson or something, and we all cleaned up. We were all like even grabbing our stuff, and then you went and you were just gonna go grab the camera and put it away, and you went.
The battery's dead.
You went, guys. I'm so sorry.
The last half of the video is dead.
And so literally we had the first half, but it like cut out halfway through a segment. So we had to record the whole segment anyways. Oh.
These are the daily devotions. I'm just going to quickly scroll through these. On number 4, that was the first one that I had anybody else in there, and that was Tristan. No, you look different, but Riley was such a little... Oh, my word. Okay, so this one is the devotion for kids. This is day 9, April 1st. And I'm going to skip Riley.
April Fools. Oh my goodness, Riley.
Oh my word. Do you remember this at all, Riley?
Yeah, this is crazy.
I remember this.
Look at that cute little kid.
Because the water splashes up in your face, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here we go. Hey, this is going to be so cool. Have you ever seen something like that? Like, look at that. You just look real there.
And what's funny is below you wasn't your keyboard and mouse right below that?
Okay, so maybe this is the time to reference this.
I can remember going to ApostolicSundaySchool.com long before I become good personal friends with Brother Philip Booker. And I remember thinking that I had found a gold mine. I can remember the cool backgrounds and object lessons and all, thinking this guy, man, he has got it going on. But there was one thing that I kept wondering, why does he keep reaching down and touching something in every video. Was it his iPad, or did he have to keep the screen from going into sleep mode? Did it control the camera? I never could figure it out. That was a mystery that I have never solved. So maybe now, Brother Booker, you can enlighten me and others, maybe. Help me mark that off my checklist.
So, Brother Ashley, to answer your question, the teleprompter that we talked about, my tablet can be controlled faster, slower, or paused with the keyboard. And I have a little wireless Bluetooth keyboard that I would have a step below the table where no one could see it.
Yes.
And so I would tap that, and it would either speed it up, slow it down, or pause it. And when you were my human teleprompters, none of that. I couldn't find it or something. So, Brother Ashley, that's what that is. And so what Jen's talking about, the water probably destroyed all
I remember
my stuff.
several times he would knock it over or bump it, and he'd have to pause and start over because he got frustrated.
Was that the table that you had to like put stuff on top? Like you had to put it on top of?
Yes.
Something?
So the cameras are kind of funny. You know, with the green screen, you have to have them at just the right height, and the height is far higher than you actually are used to working at a table. It actually almost needs to be chest height. And so the tables aren't nearly tall enough. So I had your step stool and then a board on top of that, and then the table on top of that, and then
there
it
was like a
covered with the
footrest
tablecloth.
at the bottom,
Yeah.
and then there was a board on top so the table could balance.
Yeah, and so it would be.
Too bad we didn't have any pictures of those funny get-ups.
We probably do somewhere. If I have them, I'll throw them up on the screen. Let's see, where's the first one that Jennifer appears in? There's a lot of Delaney because we recorded 16 in a row one day. And we all went and we just kept changing costume.
So you did all on the same day?
Yeah. Oh, there she is. This is number 42, Daily Devotion on May 9th.
Welcome
And just so everybody knows, I would prefer not to be in front of the camera. I would like to be behind it.
She hates being in front of the camera. So I got a question for all of you guys. I'm an idiot, especially on camera. Do you guys just like, what a moron?
When I get on camera and then I go back and look at myself, I'm like, wow, why don't you look at the camera more often? Or why do you act so odd? I feel like you actually look natural. I mean, you might be goofy,
that's
but
funny.
you don't seem awkward on camera.
I don't think it's awkward. I think my thing is just, it's odd how normal it is.
Like, I would say that, like, it's not weird, like, looking at you, because it's not like you just randomly grew this so that you could fit into Sunday school. It was like you were made for Sunday school, so it's like you've always been like this.
Yeah, also,
Sunday
like,
school was made
you're
for
not,
you.
you're
Yeah.
not different off camera versus on camera. Like, what you get, what
What
you see
you
on
see on
camera
camera is what you
we
see at home.
is what we see at the dinner
I don't
table.
know if I've
every
just been
single-
complimented or insulted, but either way, I'll
We
take
don't
it.
know
People
either.
ask, is Philip like that all the time? I'm like, kind
Yes.
of.
Yeah, pretty much.
That was how we used to get woken up in the morning.
A lot of times what would happen is Philip would be like, hey, Jen, would you like to be on a daily devotional? And I'm like,
Should be no and please.
And so I would tell him, how do I need to look? And then I'd be all worried about my hair. And he's like, who cares what your hair looks like? I'm like, I think I'll go change real
You can just wear a
quick.
hamburger hat. Is that me
You
and
guys are
Jen?
both in here, Tristan and Riley. So we're looking at number 71.
This is the first time I've seen you wear a normal hat.
Wow, I don't know that I've ever made that noise out of my face before.
Well, I ran out of weird hats.
You had to wear some base.
I will say that's one thing that I actually like. I think is cool. Is that you had to keep like thinking of new ideas so that they wouldn't get like old. Because after like 60 in a row, kids eventually are gonna get bored of the same thing.
Do you guys remember when we tried to mix it up? We did the scavenger hunts.
Yes.
And we made them as impossible as possible. I would put the most vague clues in the world. Nobody's going to be able to figure this out for weeks. And I had this whole plan scheduled out. The first week, I said something, it's round and shiny. I mean, that could be,
so vague.
How many things could that be
So
in your
vague.
house? The Acres came back and said, oh, it's the drain on the sink, which is exactly what it was.
Of all things. Yeah.
Why? So whichever of you Acre kids did that and figured out that somehow a round shiny object happened to refer to a sink drain, why? You ruined my master plan, my 8-week plan, and you just destroyed it.
I remember
Went down the drain.
Yeah. I remember us sitting in the living room and him just looking at his phone going, How? Yeah,
I was stunned, and I really, there was a little piece of me that was kind of hurt. Like my feelings were hurt.
My name is Mike Aker. Hello, my name is Luke Aker. My favorite part about Apostolic Sunday School is I like all the action songs.
My favorite part about Apostolic Sunday School is like all the object lessons.
My favorite part about the quarantine was all Brother Booker's, like where you gotta find the clues and stuff. And I remember that we got the clue first time about the drain.
Jen, you were not super happy with the way the last video came out. I don't know if you remember, but you actually told me that you were not upset, but you're like, why did you make it so sad?
Reminded me of the last one. This is so bad. I don't even remember.
Well, it's just the last one. Basically, I'm driving off into the sunset.
I remember you recording that.
This was the part right here.
This is really bad, but I don't remember
Well,
that.
what you
but
said
it does feel
was,
sad.
why'd you
just
make
listening
it
to
so sad? I'm like, well, we spent time for 72 days straight with these
We
people.
built a connection.
And now we're pulling the plug, and it just feels like, a piece of us is going away. And there was some sadness to it. There was obviously a great deal of happiness that
I
this
was
was
finally
over.
getting my room back.
That the green screen could come
The
down.
green screen could go away.
Yes. But there was a piece of me that was sad. But on that last video, what Tristan said about there's my scooter. I'm riding my scooter, driving back and forth in front of the camera, and every time I drive past, I'd say something. I can't remember exactly how it
I don't
happened.
remember. It was like the intro, I think.
Which of you had to record that? Do you remember?
I thought Tristan
I
recorded
think
it.
it was me.
I thought it was you too. But the funny part was, how many takes did we have to do for each one of those? It was like 16 times driving by.
You had to figure out what was like the right speed and like how fast.
I just
you had
remember
to
the
stay
neighbor
stuff.
standing outside just staring at you like,
Yeah,
what
in
are
fact,
you
he's
doing?
in the background.
Yes, and his
so
daughter
funny.
actually said, Dad, can you please go inside?
You're messing up their video.
That's so funny.
This was the spot right here.
Yes.
This is where we recorded
these
all
books were
those
covered up.
Yeah, all these books were here. You just didn't see them. They
Yeah.
were covered up.
So all the backdrops that you thought you were seeing.
Yeah,
are
green screens are both the coolest thing and the most frustrating ever. Remember, you had to watch every shirt you wore.
Oh yeah.
Your hats, your color, your color
One
jackets.
time you actually had to change because something on your shirt was green, and so it kept putting on the image that was on the
And
backdrop.
you
It
have
was
a lot
really
of like
funny.
green stuff. Like you have like green bow ties and green just stuff.
Well, what was bad? So say we'd record 10 of them. When you record, it's green, and so later in post is where you edit the green and put something in its place. And so I didn't notice that I was wearing a green something, or I didn't notice that the object I was doing was green. Like that.
Why did you wear your merch?
Yeah, that green would absolutely. This would be the worst choice in the world. This whole thing.
You would just be whatever your.
I would be the
backdrop is.
Invisible Man. Yeah, I'd just be a head. And so it was always really interesting. If you ever saw a video that was a solid green backdrop, you knew I oopsed.
You wore something that was green.
Yep. And so I didn't have a choice. I had to run with it.
Brother Booker, you're telling me you've had the YouTube channel out there for 10 years? Now, I went back and I watched some of your videos. You started out with object lessons. That's awesome. You gave the behind the scenes of how the trick was done, how the Christian illusion happened, how to blow the kids' mind. That's awesome. You've been doing it for 10 years, and I'm so excited. I've been doing Sunday school ministry for 20 years. Where were you 20 years ago? I'm just kidding. I know for us, watching Apostolic Sunday School, especially during COVID, was fantastic. It actually gave us the courage to do something like that for our own church, for our own Sunday school kids, and we created Kid City Home Edition. And I'm pretty sure Kid City Home Edition would not have been what it was without Apostolic Sunday School Ministries. And I guarantee I would not be the Sunday school leader that I am without Apostolic Sunday School Ministries. And I've only recently found out about the podcast 2.0. What happened to 1.0? I missed it. Missed it. Missed it entirely. The very first time I lit my hands on fire for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the kids just went whoosh. I exploded their brains. How did the world did Brother Eric just light his hands on fire and come away unscathed, just like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Oh, I was just watching YouTube, searching on Apostolic Sunday School Ministries. And I remember during COVID, you had made a new kids' devotion every day for what seemed like a bazillion days. And my daughter probably watched every single one. And she's probably a better apostolic because of it. So thank you for the work that you're doing, for the work that you've done, and the work that you're going to continue to do.
But Brother Johnny King reached out to me. I don't remember if it was a text or call. I don't remember. But he said, you need to do something for the kids. I was like, oh, yeah, we're doing a Sunday. You know, we record our Sunday. He goes, no. Every day. I was like, every day? Like one a week? I remember that schedule was brutal. It felt like, recording and releasing one every single week without fail is hard. And I'm watching Brother Gabe Baker put out his podcast every single week, and his consistency is just so, it's like clockwork. And I admire that because that to me is one of the most admirable features in a human is if you can consistently hit milestones. That's amazing. And so I remember him telling me, you got to do it every day. Okay. March 23rd, that was the very first video of the daily devotions. And there you are, Brother Lee, April 8th. That was day 15. Okay.
Oh, the quarantine edition.
Oh my goodness, your molecule. You've used that. You got a lot of mileage out of the molecule, haven't you?
It finally paid off.
You're doing bubbles, okay.
I remember, so we're sitting there doing that, and I had no idea, what the finished product would look like. We're just doing this, and it was so cool. When I was more excited than anybody else. I wanted to see how it came out the next day, and I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. All the different backgrounds and stuff like that. It was fun.
Oh, you're outside doing your bubbles. I don't remember this.
Oh. I think because of it works better in the breeze, so it came out pretty good.
I just don't remember doing this hardly.
Oh,
that was a pretty good one.
Oh wow.
Can we talk about the one that you blew the roof of my house off? Yeah, so day 58, May 28th.
Wow. Well, what's fun about this one, so we're in the living room there.
So for the background of the green screen, I have a nuclear reactor.
Remember we went and found some charcoal briquettes?
Yes. So when you blew the roof of my house off, we had to go... make it look like we've been in an explosion, and we were in the bathroom smearing charcoal on our face.
Okay, so the 5-gallon bottle thing, you only need like an ounce of alcohol to shake up. I got a bucket full.
Well, and you did it right with a little bit first.
Yeah.
And then you told me if a little's good,
a lot is better.
And you poured about 2 gallons.
First time for everything. It's the first time for us. We usually pray at the end of our Sunday school lessons. I think we ought to pray right now. I'm just kidding. We should be good. Earlier we had like just a little bit of God. Now we got a lot of God.
Yeah, now we got like a gallon of God. I just got gasoline all over me.
It's all right. Just
for those listening, it was not gasoline.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
Oh my word!
No disclaimer, no Sunday school.
Was that cool or what?
Your definition of cool and mine, Brother Lee, are two very different things.
Do I get any eyebrows left?
Brother Lee, I don't know how much house I have left.
I think we're enjoying this more than the kids ever did.
Nice view of the what?
Oh my word!
So, we're in trouble.
If I remember right, a kid really thought you blew my roof off, right?
So somebody either wrote or I ran into somebody at a conference somewhere, and he pulled me aside, and a long time later, he looked at me real serious like, and he said, "Did you really blow the roof off of Sister Booker's house?" I'm like, what? I'd completely forgotten about it, and I don't know what I told him.
Oh, one of my favorite ones was day 13, where I'm sitting telling the story of Bessie. You remember we made that up in Sunday school one day? Do you remember setting Sodom and Gomorrah on fire in the fellowship hall and almost burning us all up?
That was a good
happened.
one.
So we recorded, I think it was 16 of them that day. It was me, you, and Delaney, all recorded them in the fellowship hall. And you did, it was like a combination. You did several of your object lessons in one. Sodom and Gomorrah, you had the dust of doom, you had the alcohol, you had a lot going on.
Yeah.
And boy, Sodom and Gomorrah burnt with a fervent heat.
The shirt caught on fire.
I saw that.
Well, and then as travel opened up,
it just happened to be one of those Sundays where everybody was going to be out of town. It was just kind of organic. We said, well, why don't we're recording it? Just get your videos in by a certain time. Yep. Just record something.
It was God is everywhere. Yeah, God's with you wherever you go or something like that. Larry and Sarah were in Canada. I'm in San Antonio. Danny and the Stratas went to the forest. Delaney and Tristan were in the fellowship hall.
I'm up at June Lake fishing.
Oh, yeah. Liz was in the desert. And so we did a couple of those. Oh, remember this one? When Tyler did a guest appearance, we were going to Summit. And I knew I couldn't hit that Sunday. So I said, Tyler, can you please record our video for us? And so he did the entire thing from start to finish, did an incredible job on September 13th. Well, we could do this for hours. Going through all these, and then we turned them into the weekly video. We tried to be more consistent with the weekly things, and it just, once COVID was over, we were just so happy to be done with it. We didn't want to record anymore. And then we'd travel to another place, we'd go to Summit or whatever, and then these kids would go, please record another one. Yeah. So we'd feel bad for a little bit and record a couple more. And then we'd stop again.
And then I'd go visit a church, and I'd get these little kids, staring at me, and I'm like, why are they staring at me? And then their parents would come over. I'm sorry, this is so and so, and they watch your videos or something like that. So it was neat that it was impacting kids, and we just had so much fun together, and just it was like a family. It was a lot of fun.
I'm going through these videos, and the one thing that jumps out at me is that we didn't care if we had the right background. We didn't care if we had the right camera. We didn't care if we had the right microphone. We just recorded. I'm looking. There's me one sitting at my table. There's one sitting in my chair. There's one standing at my counter. The background doesn't matter. We didn't wait until everything was right. And some people, I hear them, well, I'm going to do videos when I buy the right camera. Yeah. We were recording on junk.
Yeah.
Some of them were on our phones, sitting on a tripod, which is a great place to start. It has a microphone built in, a camera built in. Just put it on a tripod or prop it up against a book. That's what we did most of the time.
Yeah.
And just hit record.
Going back to the whole not just entertainment thing, is we'd have the time of prayer at the end, and when you'd hear the feedback, and the parents would send pictures of kids, worshiping and hearing that, it's like, okay.
They were meaningful. We had several people say, can you please play that music at the end longer? Because my kids are praying, and then when the music stops, they stop. Wow. Can you please drag it out? And so I'm thinking, there's these kids in another state. I've never met these parents, never met these kids, and they're praying because we recorded a video.
I think every Sunday school lesson we ended on a serious note where we tried to pray and we turned it around.
So this is interesting. YouTube's funny. They'll a clip that they'll decide that this one is worth sharing. There's no rhyme or reason to it. So this one, Give Your Problems to God, jumps out, has 112,000 views. Why?
Wow.
But why? Why that one? There's nothing special. I'm sitting at my kitchen table. There's not a thing special about it. And there's others that are far cooler that have, there's one above at 500 views. This one's 16,000. That one is 112,500. Why? I have no idea. If you don't get anything else from here, start your own. You don't have to put it on our channel. We don't care where it's at. Get something out there. Get apostolic content out there and do it however you have to do it. Have someone hold a phone. Don't go spend a bunch of money on stuff that might just sit there and not get used. Use what you have, and when you've proven that you're going to use it and put it to good use, then you can spend a little bit of money on it. I had a pastor tell me, it's been a little bit, but he said, I have new converts coming to church. Their kids are hooked on TV. They're hooked on cartoons. I cannot get them off except Apostolic Sunday School. Wow. He said, I tell them that's what you need to go listen to.
Yeah.
And he said it works.
Hello, everybody. This is Delaney. I just wanted to jump on here really quickly and say happy 100 years of Sunday School, Brother Philip Booker. It is so insane that you've been doing it for only 100 years. Congratulations. I remember when I first moved down to Rialto about 7 years ago and started working with Apostolic Children's Ministry, mostly on the in-person side. It was a great honor to work with such a giant in children's ministry, both physically and spiritually. I joined the online recordings after the pandemic of 2020, and man, time has really flown since then. It is so amazing to see all that has come out of this incredible ministry under the leadership and inspiration of Brother Philip Booker. The podcast, the curriculum, the different workshops, even the things that have been started by others through the inspiration of these resources. It is so beautiful to see the worldwide impact of Apostolic Children's Ministry. So, with all that said, happy 100th episode, happy 100th year of Sunday School, and happy 100th birthday, Brother Philip Booker. God bless all of you.
Welcome to the next part of the podcast, and we have the one and only Brother Danny. Welcome, Brother Danny.
Hello, everybody.
So how long have you been an active part of Sunday School here at Inland Lighthouse?
Maybe in 2018, maybe. I got my first taste of it when we had the big kids revival here in the main sanctuary.
What was the theme on that one?
I think it was science.
Okay.
And they were I was here with my kids, and they needed somebody to take offering or something like that. And they made me put a little bear hat on. And I was like, oh, okay, this is, kind of different. That's what kind of made me spark that interest into Sunday School.
What a trip.
So, yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard that before. Well, you've been involved since 2018, so that's 8 years-ish.
Yeah.
Give or take a little bit. You were in when things really changed because of COVID. That's when our team really, I think, began working together better than it ever had to that point. And so we got together every single week. We did Sunday School every week before that, but it was just different. When we're recording, you spend time, you practice, and then you record, and then you edit, and then sometimes you record again because the mics weren't on, or who knows?
Yeah,
all the different goofy stuff. But we got to know each other. We got to know our strengths, our weaknesses, that we could depend on each other for certain things on a way that we never had before.
Right.
And I really believe it made us into a much better team. And I know this is biased, and I hope you feel this way about your church, but I feel like we have the best Sunday School team ever put together on the planet.
Yep.
Let's just kind of talk about some of those Sundays. Were there any in particular that jumped out that you remember as that was either a really fun one, or that was a really frustrating one, or whatever?
I remember one, I believe, I can't remember when it was towards the end or not, but my son, Danny, was in it. And he was like in the pot.
Who's your favorite person on an Apostolic Sunday School besides Brother Booker?
Bree.
Why Bree?
Because she tried to cook someone.
She tried to cook someone? What do you mean by that?
She put spices all over someone and put vegetables all over him.
Oh my.
Well, that was my son.
That one definitely stands out. It stood out to the children too. In fact, I sent that little clip to Bree. And all she wrote back and said, "Is that my legacy?" Not exactly what I was hoping for. You know what my favorite one of you guys was? When you and your kids were off-site. Remember, we were all off-site, and we each recorded a little piece, and you and your kids did David.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
They were so good, and you were so good. And when I got that piece and I was putting it in, I'm like, this is gold. Part of the other fun to me was like in the daily devotions was all the connecting to the other end of the camera. And part of that was giveaways. So we would, at the end of every one, we would ask a challenge of some kind. This week, do this, or answer these 3 questions and email them to us, or do this, and whoever the first one that does that will win an Amazon gift card or whatever. We gave out a lot of gift cards. But that was fun because you got to announce it the next Sunday who won the last Sunday.
Right.
And say birthdays. Remember that?
I remember that.
Yell out birthdays and stuff. Yeah. But there's other times when we hear back at random. In fact, there was a time when you were going to a Azusa trip.
Yeah. Driving for Bishop.
And you got surprised. So tell us a little bit about
that. I was there, and one of the people in the group were like, "Hey, my kids like you guys in the Apostolic Children's Ministry, and they watch your guys' Sunday School." And I'm like, "Really?" And they're like, "Yeah, and it's Brother Danny." I'm like, "Oh, cool." And then they sent me a video.
Hello, Brother Danny. We love Apostolic Sunday School. We love Apostolic Sunday School.
This is Micah, Brother Danny, and this is Bella. And we have Madeline. She likes to watch ILC too.
Which was really, really awesome.
And so they're calling out Danny, and it was so cute. Just them watching Sunday School. And then to see you in real life, they're like, "Oh, this is awesome."
I know.
So this is kind of neat. Brother Stender, Eric Stender, said his daughter Hadassah, who sent in the clip with the Q&A. At the end, this isn't in the video. He told me, he said, my daughter did not want to decorate her room in unicorns or butterflies. She wanted to decorate it in Apostolic Sunday School.
Really?
I don't know what that means. I don't know what that looks like. Is that green and black with white lettering? I don't know. I really don't. By the way, we have the OG logo on the screen. That is before we called it Children's Ministry. But it's fun when you travel and you have the kids that recognize the different members of our church, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, Delaney!" And they're losing their mind about Delaney, or they see Bree and freak out. It's just cool. I like that.
One kind of cool story. It's not children, which is, I'm surprised, but we went to Peak. I went to Peak maybe a couple years ago, and an elder saint was like, "Brother Danny," and I'm like, "How do you know me?" And she's like, "That's from the Sunday school and your stuff for the radio." I'm like, "Oh, hello." That was kind of interesting, you know.
So we built quite a collection of videos built up for both teachers initially and then for kids. And while that is going to continue, we're still going to continue those projects. We're also moving into some other projects that you're a large part of. So some of the stuff that's directly under the umbrella of Apostolic Children's Ministry would be like the audio book that we're doing of the Bible. We already released Genesis, and I think I already told you, but that's everywhere right now. I mean, it's on Audible, Kobo, Barnes & Noble. It's on like 10 different audiobook platforms now.
Ooh, cool.
And then the Acts is being recorded. Anyway, that's where that project is. Oh, Apostolic Children's Ministry, the volume 3 just came out of the lesson books. We've done 3 of those. And that's all I have on my end. And except you're doing illustrations for one of the books for me.
Yes, I'm still working on that one.
It's actually a book that I wrote years ago for our bus kids, because we had so many bus kids. I don't like that term, bus kids, but kids that ride the bus get to church and they get the Holy Ghost, and they have really very little background. They have no teaching at home. They have no foundation of what happened to them. And so I wrote a book years ago, and it was in a story form of what the Holy Ghost is, what that process looks like. And so it just kind of talks about 2 boys, one of them saved, one's not. And he invites his friend to church. The kid gets the Holy Ghost, gets baptized in Jesus' name, receives the gift of the Holy Ghost. And it kind of walks through that process of what it is, something that's real friendly to look at, giving that to them whenever they get the Holy Ghost, so they can have a better understanding of that. So it's kind of a mini Bible study in story form. I mean, I don't know what we're going to end up with, but bottom line is we're going to get this thing out eventually.
Yes.
So that's all I have. Now let's talk about what you got going on.
So I've got something with Brother Lee. He also has a book that he wants me to do some images for. It's really cool. It's about the life of Jesus, and he has it all written out. He just wants me to put like images to it again. Another thing I just finished one of my books, The Lost Inheritance.
And that's for what age group?
That's for 8 to 12.
8 to 12. If you're in the children's ministry chat, it's a WhatsApp chat that's just kind of developed over time. I would have this really cool group of people, right? So from Summit that we would meet, and we would all click. But then after the event, it would kind of disappear. The connections would disappear. And I thought, man, how cool would it be if we could continue that conversation forever, until people want to get out of it. And every now and then in those old conversations, someone would unexpectedly pop up and write something, hey, we had somebody get the Holy Ghost today, or whatever, something really neat. So I thought, instead of letting that be accidental, let's make it intentional. So every time we have a children's ministry event, if it's a children's ministry seminar, if it's junior camp, if it's summit, whatever, I get every single number that I have from those people and I dump them into that chat. And
there's a lot.
And they have the option to get out anytime they want.
Right.
And then people always that are in the chat are sending me numbers. Hey, add this person, add this person, add this person. And we share really cool testimonies, really cool ideas. And it has sparked a wildfire. I'm telling you, in the apostolic movement, children's ministry in general, it has sparked something where we went from having like 0 apostolic content to there are probably 10 authors right now actively writing books, actively generating content, writing curriculum,
podcasts,
doing magazines, podcasts, we went from one podcast to seven or eight.
I think. Yeah.
Almost seeming, it felt like overnight.
Mm-hmm.
So,
they're all good too.
Do you know how many children's books are out there for kids right now that are written by people that aren't apostolics that our kids are consuming?
And that's one of the reasons why I thought about that. And I'm like, you know what? We need more content.
We do.
Yeah. So I'm doing that. I'm starting another one. This one is called The Redemption Code. And it's kind of based on the future-ish, 2085. So like,
ooh, I like.
With like AI taking over, but the church had to go underground. Yeah, so it's a little futuristic-y.
Cool.
And that one's geared towards 15 and up.
I think it's fantastic. Eric Stender's writing books.
Yes.
Chris Bradshaw's writing a book. James
Brother
Pelletier is
yes.
writing all kinds of stuff. The WPF has created a Children's Ministry Council. I don't know what all is going to spawn out of that, but it just has so much possibility in children's ministry right now. It's just exciting. For the first time in my life, I really feel like we can pull off an apostolic, quality, first-class Vacation Bible School curriculum. With the people that are in that chat, we absolutely can pull this off. And that's complete with songs, with the curriculum, the artwork, with everything. We can create an apostolic quality. It doesn't have to be a second-rate, well, we'll settle for this because it's the only thing that has Acts 2:38 in it. No, we want it to be as good or better. And there's so much possibility.
Yeah.
It's exciting. You can feel the momentum. You really can, especially in that chat. Let's talk about the biggest momentum, that tidal wave of ideas that came
that other
when
day.
Sister Becky Manwarren in the chat threw out what she probably thought was an idle comment and said, why don't we have a magazine for apostolic kids?
Yes. And that just... whew.
And then the internet blew up.
Yeah, it did.
Because that chat absolutely exploded. I think it was 400 messages later, we had a magazine established.
Yep.
And so there is one coming out. It's called
Spark Magazine.
What does that stand for?
Scripture Powered Apostolic Rooted Kids.
So Spark Magazine, we're going to have it out by the first-ish of May. We have a children's ministry conference on May 8th and 9th, and we will have copies available.
Yes.
I'm assuming one for everybody that attends a seminar plus some for sale is what I'm assuming. And we'll have a digital version as well. This whole thing is very new, so it's going to have some an evolution scale, I'm sure. It's going to be of growing and evolving and being better all the time. But it's going to start off really good.
Yes.
Like it's already taking shape.
Yeah. Now, if you're wondering, like, well, what kind of magazine? What would it have in it? So just think of
Focus on the Family has a really cool one for Odyssey.
Yes.
It's a great magazine, but it's not apostolic. And so we will on that is. And let's kind of go through some of the pieces, at least the ones I remember. You're much better at it.
Yeah.
But like James Pelletier had this really cool one. Like boys, your 8 to 10-year-old, they like gross. So he said, I'll write a section on gross in the Bible.
Yes.
And there are stuff that's gross in the Bible. Not like gross, like, oh, why would you say that? No. But like fun gross, okay? And boys will dig it.
Yeah,
He's already written the first one. I am not spoiling it, but it's awesome.
It is. And then we have like the story that never ends.
Ooh, the continuous story that goes on and on through different stories. And I already read the first one. It's awesome.
Yeah. And then we've got like science labs. We've got
DIY crafts at home. Is that what that one is? Yes. Or crafts and object lessons?
Yes, that's one that home object lessons.
Can I spoil who's teaching that one?
Sure.
I think Brother Bob Lee is doing this one. I don't know if he's doing every one, but he's doing this particular one. And I think even is Chris Bradshaw still doing it? The craft,
as far as I know,
thing. Okay, I think I'm doing the devotion on the first one.
Yes, and we're doing devotions as well.
Toddler area.
Apostolic Heroes.
Oh, this one gets me excited. Because we want our kids to look up to true apostolic heroes. I want them to think of Johnny Godair, Floyd Odom, Larry Booker, Nathaniel Wilson, all of these people, these heroes. I want these kids to look up to them. And so there's going to be a piece about a hero written at kid level, and if possible, with a portion of that hero's childhood tied in, so they can see how it played into them being where they are today.
Right.
Oh, I'm excited about that.
And then we have Sister Acree. She's doing Why We Do What We Do.
If you've ever read those little booklets.
I haven't yet.
Sister Acree wrote 2 books, Why Do I Wear a Dress? Why Do I Not Cut My Hair? And she said, when I was a little girl, I knew we weren't supposed to do things, but I didn't know why. And without a reason, it's hard for a young person that's standing up for God on their own, in their own home, with nobody forcing them to do anything. She said, I just didn't know. And so she wrote this book for young people to explain exactly, this is why I don't cut my hair. This is why I wear a dress. And she's going to write different stuff like that for our apostolic young people, every single issue. And I think it's amazing. And I'm hoping she'll take that article, whichever one she writes, every week, and turn it into another little mini book. Ooh. So by the time it's done, every time we publish a magazine, she'll have a new book.
Oh, that would
How
be
cool
awesome.
would that be?
I know.
Yeah.
Then we have like live stories, user submissions, jokes and games, and all kinds of stuff. We're gonna try to get a comic too as well.
Nice. And even testimonies of children, right?
Yes.
So kids can send in testimonies of neat things that has happened in their lives that someone can share.
It's just gonna be so much awesome stuff in the magazine. Yeah.
Right now we're looking at about once a quarter.
Yes.
Both hard copy and digital. And it's not going to be cheap, unfortunately. We're still working on that, but distribution is tough. Pricing of small quantities. Now, if you're distributing 100,000 magazines, your prices are different, pennies on the dollar. But when you're doing 100 or 200 or whatever this turns out to be, it is going to be more, but it's only quarterly. So, if you're going to support it, I don't know what it's going to be, but it's not going to be as cheap as a magazine you're going to pick up at the store. It's going to be more, but it's also going to be custom made for apostolic kids, and I think it's worth it. And we're not making money on it. We're trying to cover the costs, and if anything is made, it'll go right back into it.
That's right.
We have a couple testimonies that we want to read of different people that have sent stuff in to the Apostolic Sunday School, and this one just came in from a lady. She is, I don't believe, affiliated with any of our churches, but she wrote and said, for over a decade now, I've been volunteering with a group called Kids Beach Club. It's an after-school Bible study we do with kids from 1st to 5th grade in public schools. You can say it's like a mini VBS. A local church will adopt a school. But let me move on to how grateful I am for Apostolic Children's Ministry Podcast. I was so grateful when I found you. I'm a big believer in teaching with visuals and stories. Jesus would put a story with his teaching. You have done all the legwork for us. You figure out the best way to do the visuals. You're so kind in showing us what they were taught. To see their kids, talking about to see their faces respond is priceless. I love asking you to send the public a better way to teach a lesson, and on and on. Just super sweet. Down from Texas, that was Tanya Wolf, and that means a lot. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so they're using our, she sent some pictures as well. I'll try to throw those up on the screen while I was reading that. So hopefully I remembered. Here's another one. Why don't you read the next one?
Let's see. We have Becky Smith. So it says, I love y'all lessons. What a great resource y'all have. Such a blessing for all teachers. I teach at the POG in Grenada, Mississippi, and love all of y'all's lessons and skits. Thank you.
Here's another one. My name is Harley Cedarwall. I'm the Sunday School Director at Branson Calvary Apostolic Church in Branson, Missouri. I believe we met at the conference in California this April. We do at least one of your object lessons every week, and our kids love it. So this is just exciting to get some feedback. It's hard to know when you're posting stuff on YouTube. The only thing you have to go on is how many views it has.
Right.
And even with a website, unless you're really into the analytics, which I'm not, you feel like sometimes that you're just kind of like, throwing rocks in a well. And you just don't know what's happening.
Right.
But it's nice to get some feedback every now and then. Let's read just a couple more. So to start with, this is from Kim. To start with, I'd like to say how much I love your lessons. Really clever and engaging. I've been in kids ministry for many years. It's great to have new fresh ideas to work with. I'd love to use this at the South African school where I teach. Thanks for the help. We actually have quite a few from South Africa.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't think they're all the same because they're all different names, but we have several people that have reached out. There's one more. Why don't you read down?
Let's see. I absolutely, positively love your website. Totally amazing, and you do it for free. I do children's church at Bethel in Thornsby, Alabama. Thank you for doing this. I love Christian illusions and doing them. Keep up the great job you guys are doing. Have a blessed day, Holly.
And here's one more. This is from Houston and Scarlett. Hello, my name's Houston. My daughter's Scarlett. She's 8 years old. She watches your videos. She wanted me to email you and inform you this is the kind of email that makes our day, makes our week, our month. That she received the Holy Ghost last month at her first time going to church camp. She's getting baptized in Jesus' name Sunday. Daughter says hello. We live in Florida and love watching. Yeah. That's cool.
That's
and
awesome.
that's not the first time we've got that. Just people saying, hey, my son wanted you to know he got the Holy Ghost today or something. I don't know where the future is going to take us, Brother Danny, but it's exciting.
It is.
It's exciting. We have more projects than we have people to do them.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, everyone. It is the Bradshaws.
Hey there.
We just wanted to take a moment to celebrate someone who has made such a huge impact in the children's ministry realm.
ApostolicSundaySchool.com is packed with many resources such as lessons, action songs, devotions, and so much more. During COVID, it became a very special resource to our family, and I'm sure many others, with the daily devotions and resources he put out during that time. And I'm sure it felt like a lifeline to many other children and ministers.
Those kids all cooped up inside and had no place to go. That was enough. But on top of that, he was also the creator and the host behind Apostolic Children's Ministry 2.0 podcast.
So fancy.
Which is, I heard, about to hit a huge milestone.
How big of a milestone are we talking about, Brother Bradshaw?
We talking 10 years.
A decade?
An entire decade.
Goodness.
Not just 10 years, though, but 100 episodes.
Wow, I can't even imagine recording 100 episodes right now.
Girlfriend, we have recorded 10.
Just 10 more times. 10 more times.
That's all we got to do.
And we just want to say thank you, Brother Booker, and all those that have helped you over the years for all you have done to equip us and encourage us as children's ministers.
And we just wanted to say congratulations, ApostolicSundaySchool.com, Apostolic Ministry, Children's Ministry Podcast 2.0. We pray that God continues to bless you, continues to anoint you, continues to inspire you.
Yes.
Continues to equip you with the resources that you need to encourage so many children's ministers as well as children. And we pray that God anoints you for many years to come. Congratulations, bro.
Keep up the great work, Brother Booker.
God bless.
We are in a totally different setting, but yet one that is familiar to many of the kids that were watching the Apostolic Sunday School, Apostolic Children's Ministry, especially during COVID, all the many online Sunday schools, the live stream and the recorded. This is where it all happened. First of all, let's start over here with a familiar face. We have...
I am Sister Elizabeth Machuca.
She started right before COVID started?
I started as a parent doing crowd control in the toddler class. So like taking kids to the bathroom and stuff right before COVID hit.
So that's the ploy we use. Just come and help watch the kids, and then, little by little we reel them in.
Yeah, my daughter just cried her head off constantly, so I had no choice.
She started off, I guess, a little shy. I guess that's one way to...
very.
Yeah.
Very.
But it didn't last very long.
No, yes it did.
No, it didn't.
Yes, it did.
At least on camera, you came out of your shell with a bang, and you were a rock star instantly. We'll go into some of that. And then we have...
Sarah.
Everybody knows Sarah. Sarah and Liz kind of started at the same time, and they've been around. They're kind of the OGs on here right now. And then we have some new exciting faces. We have...
I'm Annalisa.
Annalisa. And how long have you been in Sunday school, Annalisa?
I've been in Sunday school for about 2 years now.
And she helps with the toddler class and does a fantastic job. And
I'm Sister Mercado, and I've also been in toddler class for 2 years.
So Sister Liz, now she's our head teacher of the toddler class. And we have the Mercados here because they are the new faces of Sunday school, and we have other people that are starting with like our teacher and training thing that we have going on. We have Landry and Jay that are 14 years old. They're joining Sunday school, kind of dipping their toe in the water, seeing how they fit in. And I think it's exciting because one day we won't be around, and we want this thing to still be going, not just going as good, but be blowing the doors off and making what we're doing look sad.
Yes.
That's the ultimate goal. But we do want to kind of walk down memory lane a little bit. And if you guys weren't there, you can kind of just join us on this walk. But we're going to get to you guys, I promise. So let's go when you guys first came in. You joined, you thought Sunday school was all going to be normal, and you could probably blend into the background. Then COVID hit. and the world changed radically, and so did your world.
Yeah, it was super crazy. And I was really close friends with the Estradas, I still am, and they kind of pulled me in with our online Sunday school, and they were like, you don't have to be in it, you can just go on the computer and just make sure that we're following the scripts, because we have a hard time with that.
That is actually very true. As you know, none of us know how to follow scripts. We are
we don't
ad-lib kings and queens.
So that's how I started off, kind of just behind the scenes. And then the first thing that I ever did was a puppet show. So
really, which one was it?
Okay, it was about the rapture, and I was like,
I don't remember
we did this whole thing about like raptors. I love raptors, and like
I do remember
dinosaur
that.
thing.
I do remember
Yes,
that.
so Brother Greg helped me with that, but it was my first ever thing that I had written or done for Sunday school, but totally fell in love. And it was a giant shock to me when we went to in-person Sunday school. I had never been in super class. I had never really taught in front of a class, and I about died.
Well, you sure didn't act like you about died, because you did so very well. I will never forget when I realized what a rock star you were, was when we did our children's service in front of the whole church.
Yes.
And we did the story of the lost sheep. She was the lost sheep, okay? And she fell down the stairs.
Yes.
Actually fell down on purpose. On purpose. I don't know how you didn't break something. Like, I mean, in the script, you broke your leg, but
Yes.
I thought you actually broke your leg.
No.
It was a hard fall.
It was so fun.
And she had her buddy Chicken Nuggy with her.
Yes.
Who was spitting wisdom, if I remember right. Is that right?
And he broke his drumstick on the fall.
Ooh.
So I broke my lamb chop, and he broke his drumstick. And
right.
Our shepherd had to come save us.
Yeah, well, the reason I bring that up, though, is because there was a evangelist here at the time, and their child was in our Sunday school and enjoyed it. And he remembered, he told me this after, he said, I was sitting there watching, I was enjoying it. He said, but that part could have been the most boring, except, and he said, she was so good that it saved everything and made it so much fun. And she was like a monologue. You were on your own for a good chunk of that.
All I did was shepherd.
Whatever you did, it killed. It really was awesome.
Yeah, I've been in love with Sunday school ever since, though.
And then she decided, you know what? I don't need super class. No, but she did. She had told me for a long time that I would rather, I think, be in the toddler class. And I kind of didn't believe her, because she was so good at this. I was like, there's no way she's just going to like walk away and go teach another class. And she did, and has proven me wrong and proven her right, because she's a rock star toddler teacher too, and the head toddler teacher, and does a fantastic job running her team. So
I appreciate
you were
it.
right. I was wrong. All right.
I just love the babies. I love them.
Well, they love you too. And Sarah, do you remember the first thing you ever did in Sunday school?
I was sitting here trying to think about that. I don't remember the first thing exactly.
I don't either, but I do remember moments when you came into your own, and all of us were just like jaws open, like, I cannot believe this is Sarah.
So many scripts, so many different skits that you've written that have been so incredible. Sarah has been so incredible. I feel like maybe we don't know when she started, because she's kind of always been there.
Or she'd come up with a song, like, it's one thing to sing an action song that we've sang a lot, but then when you come up with one that you heard, nobody else has even known yet, you come up with the actions, and then you record it, or you do it live in front of kids, and you do it with confidence. That says a lot. Are there any of those Sunday school recordings that we did that stand out, for good or bad, that you remember distinctly as like funny moments, goofy moments, or like, oh no moments, where like, this is the one that gets me every time I think about it. We recorded an hour long, the whole thing, and then realized we had no sound and had to record it again. So we were here 2 hours solid after already doing Sunday school, because we did it live and then we recorded it. So we were here. It was awful. I just remember like the second time, we weren't funny. We didn't try to be. We just were mad. Just grumpy people. Kids were like, wow, what? The joy of the Lord needs to be their next topic.
My favorite, I think, recording we ever did was when we recorded like a little mini Easter drama in here.
Oh my word! Against that wall.
Yes, it was so
with
good.
The green screen.
It was so good. I think we recorded 2 Easter dramas, and I think both of them were really good.
We recorded it twice, but the first one, remember how long it took?
Yes, it took forever.
Because we had this green screen set up against the wall, and all of us, I don't know what was in us that day. We just had to ruin every take. Like, we'd almost be done, and one of us would do something or say something really stupid.
And then they had to redo it all.
And we had to redo it.
So I wasn't there for that one.
Oh, you
but
weren't?
You guys sent a lot of memes.
Oh, yeah. Remember the one about Danny when he got scared?
Oh, my word. The best. I still think about them all the time.
In the boat?
So good.
And so that one we recorded, it probably took at least a couple hours to record.
Yes.
And 8 hours to edit.
Oh, my word.
It was brutal.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I remember being at home like going, this was fun at the time. It's not fun anymore. Yeah. Because we had to replace the backgrounds with the green screen on every single one of them, and then cut out all the silliness, and then is this the right take? Nope. Is this the right take? Nope. Is this? In fact, we were even live streaming. We weren't recording.
Oh, yes.
For quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we were doing these live in front of people, like with other churches, and they didn't have Sunday school, so they would watch ours. And we would do the stupidest stuff, not on purpose. It was on. So, like, our first one, we had this big build up, and we advertised it, and Sunday school starting at this time. We had like a 10-minute countdown, 10, 9, had links sent out to everybody. Well, two things happened. First of all, people logged in. So many, it crashed the website.
I remember. Yeah.
And so they couldn't get on, and so they couldn't see it. And so then they're panicking. We're trying to get Facebook links up and Instagram Live, and finally got something up, and our mics were dead. I don't remember what it was. Someone tripped over a cable, but we didn't know it. And so we're doing the whole recording. We were doing this whole thing, and then in the chat, it's blowing up. No audio. Plug it in. We can't hear you.
Yes.
So then we stopped, get it plugged in, and we're like, what do we do? Do we start over? Like, I mean, they already saw what we just did. Oh, we felt so
We're
dumb.
so professional.
Yeah, we're so professional. And then we realized all this headache can go away if you just record it and then chop out the silly stuff. It takes a while for us to learn stuff. But it was a fun deal. Part of my good memories about that, our team got so much better.
Yes.
During that time.
Yes.
We had a good team, and we had good chemistry, and everybody liked everybody. But being together that much over that short a time, it felt like we were like family. Like all brothers and sisters, and like we were just like best friends. And it really made our Sunday school so much better and stronger than it had ever been. And then that last Sunday school, because we kept those going, even once we had live Sunday school, we still recorded them for the other churches that weren't quite back yet. When the state of California said you're not supposed to have live Sunday school, that we couldn't put it on video, but we were having live Sunday school anyway, but we didn't want to record us having live Sunday school and put it out there as evidence. And so we would have live Sunday school, and then we would record it and pretend we didn't have live Sunday school. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
That might not make the cut. Probably won't make the cut. Yeah.
Gavin Newsom's like,
I knew I could get them eventually. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so we recorded, I don't remember how many of the Sundays before we went into more periodic, once a month.
The last one was so cool, though. I just remember being very emotional, and all of us were there. And then Sister Lozano came in.
I'm so excited. I know you guys have been filming these episodes.
Sister Teresa!
Yes, and I'm ready. I've been shopping. I got this costume. And then I was out, and I found this little scroll thing, and I thought we could use that for
But she got a monkey.
Sister Lozano hadn't been in any of the videos. And so I don't know what prompted it. Did we ask her? She asked us? I don't really remember how
I asked her to do it. I thought it would be funny.
It was really good. That was a funny moment. Bob made it sound like I did it as a surprise. I don't think I did when I said it. This is the last one.
Today is the last time we're ever going to record Sunday school! But she got a monkey! Wait. What are you talking about? What do you mean the last? What? I just bought 1,000 pounds of popcorn. Wait. To sit through 20.
I finally set up the Wi-Fi in my house.
We did that for dramatic effect.
But you knew.
Yes.
But it was sad because all you guys were like, no, the Sunday school part of it was fun. I mean, the COVID surroundings were awful. It was a really fun oasis in a really nasty desert.
Yes, that's true.
But let's talk about the Mercados and the future. So you have a killer team in the toddler class. In fact, you have like a almost overabundance, which is the greatest problem in the world. So who all do you have helping you right now?
We have, so myself, Jen Booker, my two friends here, Sister Mercado and Sister Trailer. We have Sister Sabrina Tirado, that's Sarah's mom. We have Sister Ariana Lomelli, Sister Liz Aguilar, and Sister Aria.
One day, we're going to be so old that we won't be able to continue with the same energy. We'll still be here in spirit and body, but we won't be able to keep up with the youngins the way we want to. And so we got to have a lot of fresh energy and talent. And you guys coming in is just a piece of that. And I'm so excited to see all the young people, the young Tirados, my daughter Tristan, the Mercados. Your sisters are both here helping in super class. Like I said, the 14-year-olds are joining, and it's exciting because there's so much future ahead of us. What's your favorite part of Sunday school?
So my favorite part of Sunday school, it's changed throughout the time I've been in it, but because at first it was the kids just being excited to come in and want to be there. But the first time we had a parent, the first time I heard a parent come back and say that their kid recited the memory verse, or they knew what the lesson was about and it stuck with them, or the first time we did the plan of salvation and the kids knew what was next or what was coming, that's still my favorite part.
I'm telling you, my son, over and over again, he'll do something that he brings home from Sunday school and he'll repeat it. Or like your verse on Acts 2:38, he'll sing it. Or I can ask him, how many gods are there? One God. What's his name? Jesus. And he knows it all. He knows the motions to your plan of salvation. That means the world to me, that a 3-year-old can go in your class and they may not understand what we're teaching in this class with all the different stuff we have going on. And sometimes it's overwhelming how we do Sunday school for the young ones, but you guys have a way of breaking it down to them in language they understand, and it's so neat to see. So you guys do a fabulous job. Let's see, Sister Elaine Mercado, what is your favorite part of Sunday school?
Mine's like the same, seeing the kids really click onto the lessons we give, but it's also changed from when I started to now, because I'll see kids come up to me and recite our memory verse or recite a song, and that's when it really hit me. The latest that it's been was Sunday, when we had a little boy that he was scared to come to Sunday school. He barely started coming, but in Holy Ghost Rally, seeing him get up and dance to the songs really touched me. That's what makes it worth it. And they're learning from us, one God, one salvation. I mean, the songs, and they're so excited to learn it, and so excited to hear it and repeat it, and it just makes it worth it. I love it.
And that age honestly is a mystery to me. I
to
can't.
Everyone.
Well, I know, but especially to me, because I feel like I do something that should not scare them and it terrifies them, and then I do something that I think should startle them and they laugh. Like, what is happening? I cannot wrap my head around a 2-year-old's brain. It's just it's odd.
There was this one time we did a skit. Me and
Jacob
Liz,
wrestles with the angel.
Yes, Jacob wrestles with the angel.
I saw a video clip of that. That was hilarious. You guys like body slammed each other in front of the kids.
We did that, and we sort of practiced. And she's like, "I'm not gonna actually throw you on the ground." Like
she lied. She did.
She did, and
she was lighter than I thought.
And when we were doing it, she effortlessly lifted me up and threw me on the ground, and my head smacked the ground.
Great job, Liz.
And she was
and
pretty
the kids
new.
what was their reaction?
They loved it. And that's what, when I hit the ground that hard, I thought they were gonna freak out. And they were like, "Oh, do it again."
Do it again.
I was like, "Please don't."
Kids are so weird. So I learned how weird the toddler class was when one day I thought I would come excite them about the upcoming children's revival that we were doing, and I made the mistake of wearing a bright orange curly wig. And so I put it on my head and walked in the door, and they all started crying, every one of them. I couldn't say anything. They didn't want to see me. I was done. So my wife has told me that many of them are scared of hats. They're scared of puppets sometimes. I know some more than others, but it's a trip. You guys are special people.
You also learn the class that you have. So there's some kids that come and go. Sometimes you have a little toddler class that wants that extra energy, that wants that extra craziness, that wants the crazy hats and body slamming. and then you have this new wave of toddlers that come in, and they don't want you to lift your voice in a song. They don't want you to put on a crazy hat, and if you bring a puppet out, they will cry for their mom. Yeah. So it's that too, just learning the class.
So it's fun to see that we have new talent, new people that are bringing fresh enthusiasm, but we also have a long history. So we've been recording these videos initially for teachers specifically since 2015, and then COVID hit. And then we kind of transitioned that focus to kids for a long time. And then after COVID, we kind of have done both. So we're reaching to teachers and to kids. So we've been doing it 10 years. In May will be 10 years. Wow. 700 videos now are on the channel. I know, crazy.
My daughter has seen every single one of those 7. She plays it to go to sleep.
Really?
We wake up at 7
so
in the
boring.
We wake up at 7 in the morning, and she will still have it on repeat because she loves hearing it. And this
is the first I've heard this.
Yeah, she's transitioned into the youth class now, and she still listens to them. She still looks at them. And I remember when we first came, and she didn't want me to leave, and I sat there, and I just remember how awesome you guys were. And I think I have a picture of my now almost 17-year-old and my now 12-year-old in the back of the class when she still had bunny ears, and she would wear bunny ears.
I loved her wearing those. I always made a big deal about it.
She loved the bunny ears, and she would go, Brother Philip told me I need to wear my bunny ears.
I would tell her every time, like, where's your bunny ears? You forgot them today.
I'll walk in at 5:30 in the morning and they're playing.
What a trip.
And they're not even like low playing. They're on full blast.
That's
5
awesome.
in the morning, turn them down.
Well, that's cool. That was the whole purpose, was to give Apostolic kids some content that they could watch, that they wouldn't just entertain them, but it would teach them and get the one God message into them, and that's exciting.
What's your favorite story from Apostolic Sunday School?
Probably the time machine. Well, she was trying to build a rocket, and she accidentally made a time machine, and it went back in time all the way up from COVID all the way to Gideon.
Is that what spurred your love for action songs?
Mm-hmm.
I thought so, because you've been doing action songs ever since COVID.
I am here with Sister Brianna Hinckley. We have you here today because we have a couple questions for you.
It wasn't my fault. I'm just going to say that right now. So I wasn't here for the whole COVID adventure. I didn't come into Sunday school till I think maybe halfway, if not kind of the tail end of things.
Okay.
So you guys had already had a whole system established and everything like that.
It's crazy because I feel like you've always been here. Like you're just part of Sunday school now.
It's weird because it feels like I've been here forever, and it also feels at the same time that I just started still somehow.
Yeah. Anytime recording. What was your best memory?
I would have to say was when I cooked somebody.
Can you hold that for me, please? Thank you.
Oh my.
Worst memory.
Whenever we would do recordings, it was always technical difficulty.
Either the camera would stop recording, or when somebody forgot to push record, or the camera died and there's just no audio.
Yes.
And like
mics weren't working,
yeah,
or lights were having issues.
Delaney touched a mic. It helped our team become what it is today. We wouldn't be the same without COVID.
It's funny that you mentioned like how COVID kind of brought the team together. Because when I came in, I just assumed that's how you guys were the entire time. So I was like, wow, this is the standard, and you guys are like way up on the top of Mount Everest.
Yeah. So. Funny memories. Your funniest memory that you can think of.
Oh, funniest memories.
I think my funniest memory is when we were recording one of the Sunday schools, and it was like my dad trying to get to Sunday school, and his unicycle got stolen out of a bush. And
is this a skit, or was like that incident a real?
No. Like we were recording the skit, and we went back for the unicycle, and it was gone.
Oh, so you got robbed?
Yeah, he got robbed.
Sunday school stuff.
Yeah. Then he sees a truck driving off. He chases after it. He's like, get in the car. We follow after it. He pulls up, and he's like, what in the world, bro? You have my unicycle. And he's like,
excuse me, sir.
The guy was like, I thought it was scraps. And he's like, no, that's my unicycle. Like, give it to me. So he takes it out of the back of this guy's truck and just puts it in the truck.
That's something like only a Sunday school teacher would be
Yeah, I was
involved
like,
when,
but like, what other kind of theft would be more appropriate to have to a Sunday school teacher than a unicycle?
I did enjoy being able to do a couple of like daily devotions or weekly devotions with your dad. That was
daily
super
devotions were fun.
And I can't pick like a singular funny moment, but I know in some of them, I would try to get your dad to laugh to see if he would break character. And I think it maybe happened once or twice, and it was very brief.
The main thing we are talking about is the podcast. I was not there at the beginning. The beginning started off with just my dad, and then he would have like one or two guests until the 2.0 started, and that was when our whole team really got involved. The first one we were both involved in was the 2023 Kids Revival Recap. It was in February 2023.
Oh, yeah. That was the diving deeper.
Yeah. And then the last one we did was when me, you, and Natalia did our takeover. I remember I asked my dad, are we going to do a podcast tonight? He's like, I want to, but I just don't think I have time. And I was like, you should just let us do it.
We kicked him out of his own podcast.
I genuinely thought he was going to say no.
That's fair. That was like, what, a span of like a year or two?
Yeah, so almost 2 years.
Oh, okay. There was a lot that happened during those 2 years, too.
It's a thing of where now we can look back, not only like how far we've come, but there's also some things, I'll remember things we did like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and I'm like, that was good. Why don't we do that anymore?
And bring it back.
Having it as a thing to look back on, you learn from the past.
Yeah.
Not only in the things you did wrong, but also in things you did right. What worked, what didn't.
Yes.
People my dad has had on the podcast that aren't even involved in our Sunday school, and just their different takes on things are just incredible.
And it's also like the raw and unedited versions of like the day in and day out stuff.
Yeah,
too.
it's not that we're going to be like, we had 600 in Sunday school. We've never had lower than that.
We've never had any behavioral issues.
We have
ever.
angels in all of our classes. We have not had one single problem ever.
Our mics are always on. My experience with the podcast itself. Well, first, when I first got invited to like do that recap, I was like, oh my word, I'm going to sit with the cool kids at the cool table.
Honestly.
But it was neat because I don't know who all listened to it. Like, I thought it was more of just like for our local church, for people specifically in kids' men. So that was like, what, 10, 12 of us maybe?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, we're just reliving the wonderful memories that happened this last week kind of thing. And then talk about different people's perspectives of like, you know, what happened on bus.
Yeah.
What were some highlights? What were some challenges? What are some big upcoming events, this, that, or the other? How God really is moving through our Sunday school and the rest of our kids ministry and stuff like that. But it wasn't just a recap of like, oh, what are we doing every week? But it also developed into like, you know, what kind of topics can we help other people with?
Yeah.
Like, what are some things that they would like to learn?
Even just being on the podcast and talking to, whether it's my dad, Brother Danny, you, my Aunt Sarah, Natalia, whoever it is, whoever we're talking to, just hearing what's really going on in their heads regarding the same thing I'm looking at, but my dad says something and I'm just like, I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
Or
it makes you think about it differently.
It gives you different perspectives on it. I never would have thought of that.
So what are some of your favorite stories you've seen or watched on Apostolic Sunday School?
Brother Booker and his brother, when Brother Booker said it was good, and then his brother said how come, and then it was bad, and then good, and then bad, and then it was horrible.
Oh, it's actually good. How come? Well, it's good because I still had enough to buy me an airplane. Oh, that's good. No, that's bad. How come? Well, I was flying that airplane the other day. I flew upside down and I fell smack out of that airplane. Oh, that's bad. No, that's good.
What's your favorite object lesson you've seen from Apostolic Sunday School?
Probably the mousetrap.
Anything you want to say to Brother Booker or the folks at Apostolic Sunday School Ministries?
Thank you guys for posting all those videos, and I love you guys.
Hey there, everybody. My name is Zach Lill from Neosho, Missouri, and I just wanted to say a big congratulations to Apostolic Children's Ministry on 100 episodes of laughter, encouragement, and wisdom. You guys are something else. But I also wanted to say a huge thank you to Brother Philip Booker for your your passion and your burden for children's ministry. And not only that, for being such a huge influence and a role model in my life. You've helped me grow as a children's minister over the last few years. Before I got involved in children's ministry, I struggled a lot with self-esteem and confidence. But then I seen a video one time of a skit on Apostolic Sunday School that simply said, "Get out of your box." And that helped me and encouraged me a lot to put myself out there more. I got in connection with Brother Booker, and just being around him and seeing his love for children's ministry shine through him has encouraged me and helped build me so much. So I just want to say once again, thank you for being such a huge influence and a big role model. And once again, congratulations. And I can't wait to see what the next 100 episodes holds.
Well, that was a lot of fun going through all those memories, Bob. This has been a blast.
Yeah. We had so much fun doing it.
We did.
I know we did it for the kids and whatever, but we just had a blast doing it. And you got to enjoy what you're doing. It makes it so much better, because you can feel our hearts are in it, and we just had a lot of fun.
A good time, and it's not over. It's not over. It's 2025. We expect this thing to go for quite a while. But we're going to keep recording videos, keep putting stuff out, and I don't know what the future holds, but it's been a fun ride.
It has been fun.